everybody. Welcome out to a very important discussion today. My name is Vince Massimini. I've been with the Eastern Atlantic States Benefits Fund since 2014, so we're going on 12, 13 years at this point. Some of you guys may have talked to me over the phone, see me in person. You may have seen me on our social media, right, Facebook and Instagram accounts. Typically, I'm giving out mediocre NFL picks each week, and then we're giving away some prizes. For today, though, a bit more of a serious discussion. We have a cancer discussion here with two of our vendors that we partnered with, a year or two ago, and wanted to highlight the great things that they bring to the table. So, for the panelists here today, we will start with Mark Russo and Audra Feolo from the Galleri test. It's a preventative measure they offer. How are you guys doing today?
Very good, thank you.
Great, thank you.
And then Philip Aiken from CancerNavigator. How are you today, sir?
Great, thanks for having us.
No problem. Keep it pretty loose today. Again, I think we're just going for a pretty informal, general discussion to highlight really all the great things that you guys do. And at any time, just chime in. Let me know if there's something you guys want to talk about or highlight. I figured we would start though. More on the preventative side. So we'll probably kind of lean towards the Galleri test, right? Which Mark and Audrey, you guys can speak to. Early detection for cancer is very, very important. I'm pretty sure at this point everybody knows that. I don't know if you guys have any stats or highlights or anything, but I can pretty much tell you that catching it early is good, right? So if you guys have anything just in general, before I kind of get into the weeds on the eligibility requirements, anything on why catching it earlier is better and 5-year survival rate, anything along those lines?
Yeah, I can add some color there. So, 1 in 3 women will potentially contract, 1 in 3 women will potentially get cancer in their lifetime. 1 in 2 males will actually get cancer in their lifetime. And so by finding cancer early in stage 1 and stage 2, we actually have now about a 90% survivability rate versus finding cancer in stage 3 and stage 4, where it diminishes to about 20%. So very important that we find cancer early now.
Awesome. So in terms of what the test is, we'll get to that in a second. But how are you eligible for this test, right? As of today, if you are age 50 or older, you are eligible for the test. If you are age 40 or older with any of the risk factors, right, that'll be determined when you guys kind of fill out your questionnaire, you are eligible for this test. And then for all the Carpenters funds that are involved right now, unfortunately is not yet offered to our Medicare population. Right, so you have to be our commercially insured population to get this. One thing I would like to highlight, and I'm probably going to say this several times throughout the discussion here. One of the big things we focused on in the last several years is just removing any barriers to getting the care you need. Right, so both of these vendors, for all our participants, are available at no cost to you. All right, so if we're talking about the Galleri test, I think it's valued at $950. Right, and that's something that you guys can get at no cost to you. And very important, because we haven't had this yet, we've only been with you guys for a year or two, you can get this annually. Right, so every year you can go back and get this done. To get into what exactly the test is, Mark or Audrey, do you guys want to start up just kind of the process? We'll try and go start to finish, but just with the blood draw, take it away.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'll talk a little bit about what Galleri is and how that works, and then I'll shift it to Audra to talk about how you can actually get access to the test. So first of all, Galleri is the first of its kind multi-cancer early detection test, and that's MCED for short. Galleri is a single test that uses a simple blood draw to determine if cancer exists in your body. And if it does, the test can actually predict the cancer's location with very high accuracy. So it's one blood test to detect over 50 different cancers, and about 45 of which have no screening options today. This can be, as Vince mentioned, a potentially life-changing employee a member benefit. And when we look at this being such a simple blood draw and a very low false positive rate, paired that with the high accuracy for detecting where in the body the cancer is this is a very powerful tool for members. I'll also mention too, kind of how the test works. And so if you know about cancer or have had cancer impact you, cancer is a disease of the genome to start. And so it starts with one cell that goes awry and grows and eventually spreads throughout the entire body if it goes unchecked. And in the human body, it's made of trillions of cells, and they all undergo regular turnover. And this is where they die and they get replaced. And when cells turn over, they shed what's called DNA or cell-free DNA into our bloodstream. And the DNA that looks, I'll say, not healthy compared to those that are healthy cells, they look differently. And so when we draw those 2 small vials of blood for the Galleri test, we're using next generation sequencing and some machine learning to determine if those patterns look like if they're healthy or if they're cancerous cells. So we can determine very simply if a cancer cell signal is detected or if no cancer signal is detected. And if a signal is detected, we can identify with again, very high accuracy of predicting where in the body that signal is coming from. So is it coming from the pancreas or the stomach or the liver? And detecting that where in the body helps inform our follow-up care that you have access to as a member in the program. So Audra, I'll shift to you and maybe you can talk about how members can get access to the test.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about testing for the Galleri test, we really break it down into 4 simple steps. And the first step is to request the test. So if you navigate to your benefits page, search for the Galleri test, you'll be able to access a link to a specific Galleri page that provides a lot of information. So it's a great way to learn more about the test. We have embedded videos, FAQs. We have all of the eligibility criteria listed on that page. And then if you do opt to participate, you will see an option to request the test directly from that page. And as part of that test request process, you're going to complete a short health questionnaire. And it's really designed from start to finish to take 10 minutes or less. So it's a really quick questionnaire process, very painless. And then because the Galleri test is prescription only, once you submit that health questionnaire, our telemedicine provider partner, which is Recuro Health, is going to review that test request and send you an email with next steps. So once the test request has been approved, step 2, you're going to be shipped a Galleri test kit. And with that test kit, you're going to get email instructions on how to print what we call a test requisition form, which is basically just a form that you're going to take to your blood draw appointment, showing that the test has been approved by a provider. And you're also going to get instructions on how to schedule your blood draw using one of our partner labs. And so then the third step of the process is just to complete your blood draw. So by scheduling your blood draw appointment with one of our partner labs, the cost of that blood draw is completely covered as part of this benefit. And you'll have a couple of options. You'll see in our tool, you'll be able to enter your zip code, and you'll see all of the lab options in your area. And those options include selecting a mobile phlebotomist to come to you either at your home or place of work, if that's offered in your zip code. Otherwise, we have a robust list of physical labs that you can also visit if you would like to visit a physical lab instead. And then once your blood draw is completed, that phlebotomy partner will ship your sample back to our lab. And in about 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to receive your test result. And that test result is binary. So you're either going to receive a no cancer signal detected result, which is what the vast majority of individuals do receive. So about population-wide, we see 99% of individuals receive a no cancer signal detected result. You're going to get that result via email. So you'll be able to log into our secure patient portal. You can access that full test report, download it. If you'd like to, you can take it to your provider and discuss that report. If you are part of the 1% who receives a cancer signal detected result, you're also going to get an email where you can access that full test report. But you're going to get a call from our provider partner, Recuro Health, as well, to discuss those results with you, as well as next steps. And as part of those next steps process, our patient advocate will be reaching out to you to provide one-on-one support in any way that you need. And most importantly, to introduce you to another exceptional benefit that you have, which is the CancerNavigator services. So as part of that discussion, we can very seamlessly connect you to Philip and his team to provide enhanced support throughout your entire journey as you undergo a diagnostic follow-up to confirm if you do have cancer. Because I think one of the most important things to remember throughout this process is that the Galleri test is a screening test. Much like a mammogram or colonoscopy, it doesn't diagnose cancer. So Philip and his team will be available, and I'll let Philip, you speak to all the great work you do, but to really help you throughout that process of completing that diagnostic follow-up to confirm if you do have cancer diagnosis.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. I'm very glad you came on because I'm certainly not qualified to go over any of what you just said. And I like that. I think Audra gave us the teaser there, as they say in the industry. We'll be getting to Philip here in just a second. So the main things I would highlight just from someone who potentially is, I think in a couple of years, I'm eligible for this. Very convenient, right? Does not cost you anything as a member. And you get to schedule when you do this. You can go, to the whatever's closest to you. And we're trying to remove any reason for you not to do this. I think you guys did a good job there. One thing I wanted to touch on, and I know, so Audra sends me, some stats every now and then. At my home fund, right, which is the Eastern Atlantic States Benefits Fund. So far to date, over about a year and a half, 2 years, we've only had about 12% of members who were eligible to get the Galleri test get it. So I would like to see that number go up. Right? Anything we can do to find these, I don't want to say preventable, but catch them early, right? Cases we should be doing. It's worth it a million times over. The one thing that I did kind of want to call out, and I know we had a handful of these so far with Eastern Atlantic, we've actually had 13 cancer signals detected. Two of the cases I wanted to highlight, and Mark and Audra, I know you guys are familiar with these, and probably even Philip. I'll start with Walt, which is actually on, if you go to our website, right, there's a testimonial video on there. I don't want to say this is like the classic case, but he, 30 years in the industry, right, with the union, retires, he's a husband, he's father, he's got 2 grandkids, and, I think I don't want to stereotype, but I feel like he's a dude. Maybe that would never happen to me. So, his wife stumbles on the website, says, look at this thing, we should try it. Wife orders everything for him, comes back, and, watch the video, obviously, it's pretty awesome. But he actually has, I think it's like a rare bile duct cancer, which is not typically detectable until the later stages. And I'll let you guys touch on that if you want. But basically, this would not have been caught until it got to the point where it was already too bad. And then he says in the video, I think it's like 6 weeks from the time, he takes the test, he's on the operating table, and now, he's on the path to recovery thanks to, the test that you guys were able to offer. I don't know if I forgot anything that you guys want to add there. And then I have another case I want to
very rare, very potentially aggressive, and it was amazing to have caught so early. I think even in the video, they talk about the other physicians coming in to experience that opportunity of discovery. So it's very powerful.
Yeah. And I feel like too, so many times it's just like, it won't happen to me, or I don't know anybody that does that. I mean, this is one of the carpenters that you guys, maybe were on the job site with, like, this guy. And it happened to him. It could happen to anybody. So he's a great case. He's a funny dude. The other one I wanted to bring up, a little bit different, but I feel like equally as important, is one of the cancer signals that got detected was one of our female participants. I want to say late 40s or early 50s. And she was what I would consider the optimal consumer of healthcare, right? Not like, oh, I haven't done anything. I don't feel like getting off the couch. She was getting all of her routine screenings done and everything was going as it should. She actually, I think, had her mammogram, it might have been like 2 months before ordering this test. So ordered the Galleri test, and sure enough, it must have been missed on the mammogram. Again, now we're not discouraging you guys from getting your routine stuff. We obviously want you to use, every club in the bag, but this wouldn't have been picked up, and she was kind of about to go on her way thinking, no, everything's fine, no big deal. So that's another path where even if you're doing everything you can, this is one more step I think everybody should want to take just to be sure, that you're not missing something that can manifest into stage 3 or stage 4. And then again, everybody here is more qualified than me, but the therapies that happen from that point forward and the pain, I'm assuming, is much, much more rather than catching it early.
I would add too, Vince, that you made a good point there that I wanted to remind everybody that Galleri is a point in time test. And so it is not intended to replace any of your routine screenings, right? So as you're getting the Galleri test on an annual basis through this benefit, please make sure that you stay, in line with all of those preventative measures that are being recommended to you based on your age or risk appropriateness. So just wanted to add that as a point of clarity too.
Okay. Thank you. And then, so those are the two, again, the cases that kind of stuck out to me. Again, please go to our site, watch the testimonial wall. It's a short watch, but it's a fun one. So we're trying to hammer preventative care home forever. I feel like literally since I've started working here. If everybody does that, great. And like Audra mentioned, there is the 1%. So if you get those results and you have a cancer signal detected, or by some other way, you find out that you have a cancer diagnosis, right? Now kind of a different journey begins. And Philip, obviously, we're bringing you in here. We partner with CancerNavigator because they specialize in that journey, right? And I can only speak for, luckily, I can't speak to the experience, but if that was to happen to me, I would want to have to worry about the minimal amount of things possible other than beating the cancer. And Philip, you guys, that's why we brought you in. So if you want to give everybody just a quick intro to the company, what you guys do, and then we'll kind of get into the same thing, the process and how you guys, the kind of the handoff between Galleri and you. But
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us, Vince. Really, just in short, CancerNavigator exists to help any participant facing cancer in their hour of need, really with any issue. So whether a participant's getting worked up for potential cancer, facing a brand new diagnosis, or has been in treatment for months, our team's really here to help with any challenge that participant would be facing. I think importantly, we're not an app or a chatbot, right? We're a team of real people, nurse navigators and researchers who are here to help at every step of the way. So each participant, if they were to get a cancer diagnosis, has access to a dedicated oncology nurse navigator who's really just there to be support and help them make decisions and step through kind of every step of the journey.
Glad you said that, only because I'm not anti-AI, anything like that. And if my cable's out, I'll deal with the chatbot at Comcast, or if I'm returning a package at Amazon, that's fine. When the stakes are, you have a cancer diagnosis, I would like to talk to a human being. It's just me. But when you guys reach out, that's what you're going to be getting. And again, a dedicated oncology nurse, certified oncology nurse. I guess the first thing I would ask is you've gotten not great news, right? You have either a cancer signal or you confirmed cancer diagnosis. Sure, lots going through your head. Why, Philip, reach out and engage with CancerNavigator?
Yeah. Absolutely, Vince. I think you set up the moment correctly there. The moment just right after a diagnosis or just a signal detected before a diagnosis truly is one of the hardest. You know, you immediately need to make decisions about where to go for care, what treatment might be available, whether you need to take time off work, how you'll pay the bills, who's going to support you. The list really goes on. Cancer survivor myself, I remember vividly that moment, just a million thoughts running through your head, really just entirely overwhelmed with the news you just heard, and then several large decisions to make. So our team spent years researching those decisions and the best options for patients. And really, we're here to ease that burden, provide information on best places to go, the most important things to know about your specific type of cancer, and really just help each participant with every decision there.
Okay.
We'd love to share also just about the Galleri and CancerNavigator partnership here, because I think it really does set up members to to be best supported right after a signal is detected. So just how our partnership works, if a participant does receive a Galleri test and the test comes back with a signal detected, our team is really there to help the participant navigate those next steps. So like Audra said, a signal detected is not a diagnosis. After that, it's really important for participants to receive the right diagnostic testing to then understand, okay, do I actually have cancer? And then if so, what comes next, right? What decisions do you need to make about which doctors you need to schedule appointments with, what treatment options might be available to you? And our team is really there to just be a resource to guide patients through, a potential diagnosis and then, unfortunately for some, a confirmed diagnosis.
Yeah. So he said, unfortunate, but we know it. How do we attack it? I want the best services I can get to help me along the journey. And when we signed up with you guys, I didn't know half this stuff was honestly offered. So I'm looking at, you can talk better to it, but kind of like the wraparound services. I guess I never really thought any of this would go through my mind because I've never been down this journey, but you guys do the benefit education and you offer, the options that you guys have locally. So like I'm in Philadelphia or near it. So you'd say, here's what we've seen around the area. We're not pushing you towards any one establishment that you guys choose. So you still have that decision to make as your own as the patient. But other things that you guys can help with, like scheduling appointments and transportation. I don't know if you want to just kind of touch on some of those other things that, again, for me, I never really considered until we brought you guys on board.
Absolutely. Just like you said, lots of times patients, could really use the information on where the best place to go is in their area and the specific considerations for their type of cancer. But many patients, especially in Philly, get on the right track right away. They are set up with the top oncologist at the beginning. They've started treatment. Even then, though, there's just so many challenges families face as they're going through cancer. So one common way that our team supports patients is really preparing for upcoming appointments. Even as you start treatment, you have many appointments and there's a lot of information thrown at you. So our nurses often provide, fact sheets and questions documents to bring to appointments for patients so they know what that key information is they should be talking about with their doctor. Some patients, like you mentioned, might need help with transportation. A lot of treatment courses include radiation maybe every day, and patients might not be able to drive while they're going through treatment, or they might not have someone available to them on the specific day their surgery is scheduled. So our team will connect them with transportation resources to make sure they get to their appointments. Another one I just always like to highlight is cancer can be incredibly overwhelming, and patients shouldn't have to face that alone. So we often connect patients with support groups, often locally in their area, with either support groups of other families or other patients who have gone through similar journeys for emotional support, as well as mental health professionals when appropriate there.
Yeah, it's just like a plethora of stuff that I'm happy we brought you guys on board. The one thing too I wanted to just touch on, and this is kind of speaks to the convenience of really both of you guys. The industry that we represent, partners. I mean, I got a couple buddies of mine. They're up at like 3:30 in the morning half the time to go to a job site an hour and a half away, and if they catch one of these cancer diagnoses, and they're still actively working, right, I'm thinking in my mind like, everybody's retired. Like, you might have this when you still have to go to work, and again, the last thing you want to do is be bothered with figuring out transportation. You don't know when you can schedule your appointment. I mean, having you guys to alleviate some of those concerns, just kind of shoulder the burden of all that, lets them do what, again, the main focus should be, which is try and beat, this terrible diagnosis that they have. So that's more specific to, again, just kind of the line of work that most of our members are going to be involved in. At least the ones on the job site. Obviously, their spouses could be doing any number of things, but it is awesome. And I'm glad you mentioned the emotional support too. I would imagine when you guys get those phone calls that come in, and people, like you said, are just shocked, overwhelmed. They don't, just kind of got hit with news they were never expecting. So for anybody out there, please just reach out, utilize all of our benefits. But for today's purposes, the Galleri tests and CancerNavigator, I mean, they're great. They are offered at no cost to you. I mean, please utilize them. I don't know how else to say it. I'll get on my knees and beg, but make sure you guys utilize your benefits. I think that is pretty much it from my end. I will get you guys to do closing thoughts, but again, just thank you guys so much for coming out. Any questions, obviously go to our website or your benefit funds website. You can give us a call. All the information for the Galleri test as well as CancerNavigator can be found on there. You have the testimonials. The fund staff is always willing to help you guys out. Obviously, the experts here, Philip, Audrey, and Mark, are going to be a little bit better once you get into the weeds. But anything basic, we're down to help you guys. But before we close it out, we'll start with we'll jump back to the preventative side here at the Galleri test. Mark, Audrey, you guys got anything you want to say to?
No, I would just add, we appreciate the partnership. We appreciate the opportunity to work with members to help, further what is Grail's mission as well, which is reducing this global burden of cancer. And we can do that with one member at a time here. So really important to us. And remember to keep getting your preventive screenings that you're recommended.
Yes, thank you. It's a good plug. Philip, anything from your side?
Just echo Mark's sentiment. Really appreciate the partnership, and we are here to support with really any issue that participants face in their hour of need. There's no issue too small, so please reach out. Use this service available to you, and hope to ease the burden along the way.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm sure the people will be thankful. Hopefully they can pick up a nugget or two here. And again, the closing message would be anything you can do, the preventive side of things. Get the Galleri test. Anything you can do. Please. I don't like getting the sad phone calls. They're terrible. I want our membership to be happy and healthy, and they work just so damn hard for 30 years, breaking their bodies up. Make sure you guys go into retirement and enjoy your life. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you on here hopefully sometime soon. But that's it for today.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.